Hi, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube page. You guys, I could not be more excited about what is happening on this page. Oh my gosh, I have had the best conversations with you guys, text messages, inboxes, comments, just letting me know the impact that these opportunities are making, the impact that they're making. So we just want to continue in that vein. So guess what? This week, what I want you to do is subscribe if you haven't already. Click that notifications bell so that you'll know what's going on as soon as it's going on. And then the other thing I'd like to ask you to do this week is share. Feel free to share the good news. Well, with that, we need to focus in on these affirmations. Why? Because what we think about, we bring about. How can we have a great life if we don't have great thoughts? Our thoughts become our actions become our lives. So today, my focus, my affirmation to you is you are called. That's the affirmation. You are called. I want that to really sink in. The key word for the week is called. So this podcast, this opportunity, this video is me pushing you in the back with some encouragement. It's me sending you a virtual hug, reminding you that indeed, affirmation, you are called. Okay, so let me tell you what I know. I know that I'm called to teach. I know that I'm called to lead. I'm called to encourage. I'm called to motivate. I'm called to dream. I'm called to help others unveil a better version of themselves. I'm called to help others tell their stories. Ultimately, I'm called to inspire. If I was to ask you, what are you called to do? What would your answer be? I want you to focus in on that this week because as one of my most important mentors once said, God didn't have time to make a nobody. So what are you called to do? What are you destined to do? If God didn't have time to make a nobody, the moment you were born, there was a calling, there was purpose over your life. So what are you called to do? Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. Even when you know your calling, it doesn't mean that you don't get discouraged. It doesn't mean that you don't have moments where you're wondering what, who, how, why, what is really happening with my life? It doesn't mean that you won't have moments where you're not terrified of what is to come. But here's what I know. Here's what I know absolutely for sure. And here's what steadies me. God says, yet in his largeness, nothing gets lost. Oh my gosh, y'all, that's so good. Yet in his largeness, nothing gets lost. Alisa, where did you get that from? That's Psalms 36, 6-7 in the Message Paraphrase Bible. God's love is meteoric, it says. His loyalty, astronomic. His purpose, titanic. His verdicts, oceanic. Yet, in his largeness, nothing gets lost. Not a man, not a mouse slips through the cracks. How exquisite is your love, oh God. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful passage of scripture. I want to read that again. God's love. When we think about God, often we talk about him being omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. He's all powerful. He's all seeing. He's all knowing. And so in Psalms 36, 6-7, his love is described as meteoric. Isn't that poetic? Isn't that beautiful? His loyalty is described as astronomic. His purpose is described as titanic. His verdicts are described as oceanic. And yet in the bigness of God, the next part of the scripture says, yet in his largeness, nothing, and I mean nothing, gets lost. Oh, don't you love that? Not a man, not a mouse, slips through the cracks. And it ends with a proclamation. How exquisite your love, oh God. All right, so if for one moment you felt lost, if for one moment you felt as if you weren't called, if for one moment you felt discouraged or weakened by life circumstances, if for one moment you felt left behind, passed over, or forgotten. My assignment this week, my affirmation is for you. You are called. Remember, yet in his largeness, nothing gets lost. So what do I know for sure? Here's what I know. I know that you're on time. I know that you're on track. I know that there is still worth and purpose in you. And I know that God, who counts the most, even more than your thoughts, even more than your counterparts, even more than your friends, even more than your family, God counts the most, and he hasn't counted you out. As much as you help others, as much as you work toward others, don't leave this earth having everybody use you but God. Walk straighter this week. Sit taller this week. Be more bold this week. And remember, didn't I tell you? Greater is he that lives in you than he that lives in the world. This is Alisa Sample Alexander. Thank you for joining me for Affirmations.